Baywatch, 1989 to 2001, wasn't just a TV show, it was a cultural phenomenon that defined an era. With its sun-soaked beaches, heroic lifeguards, and iconic slow-motion runs, it became one of the most watched series in television history. The show launched the careers of many stars, but after 36 years, where are they now? Some cast members found lasting fame, while others faded from the spotlight. Some faced personal struggles, tragedies, and even untimely deaths. In 2025, we take a look at the lives of the Baywatch cast, how they've changed, the highs and lows they've experienced, and where they stand today. Michael Newman was born on April 26, 1957, and at 32, he took on the role of Michael Newman in Baywatch in 1989. Unlike many of his co-stars, he was not an actor by trade but a real-life lifeguard, lending authenticity to the role. As Numi, he embodied quiet strength and loyalty, a dependable presence on the beach who was always there to assist in daring rescues. Despite his lack of acting experience, his character became a fan favorite, yet he remained overshadowed by the more glamorous stars of the show. His career never extended beyond Baywatch. While his co-stars chased Hollywood dreams, he returned to lifeguarding, a profession that would ultimately betray him. Married for decades, his relationship with his wife eroded under the weight of financial instability and his increasing health issues. They had 2 children, but as his Parkinson's disease worsened, he withdrew from family life, ashamed of his physical decline. The final years of his life were defined by loss, losing the ability to work, losing his independence, and losing the identity that had defined him for decades. Once a symbol of strength on the beach, he became a prisoner of his own body, unable to even hold a steady gaze or speak without trembling. He passed away due to complications from Parkinson's disease on October 20, 2024, at the age of 67. Pamela Bach Hasselhoff was born on October 16, 1962, and at 29, she joined Baywatch in 1991 as Kay Morgan, a strong, independent businesswoman and occasional love interest for Mitch Buchanan. Kay was compassionate and intelligent, a stabilizing presence amidst the chaos of the beach. But unlike her character, Pamela's real life was anything but stable. Though she gained notoriety as David Hasselhoff's wife, her career never flourished beyond minor television roles, and she struggled to step out of his shadow. When their tumultuous marriage ended in divorce in 2006, she was left emotionally and financially devastated. The custody battle for their 2 daughters drained her, and in the years that followed, she faced repeated DUI arrests, tarnishing what little reputation she had left. As work dried up, she became increasingly isolated, grappling with depression and addiction. The years chipped away at her spirit, financial ruin, legal troubles, and strained relationships with her children left her feeling abandoned. By 2025, her mental health had deteriorated beyond repair. On March 5, 2025, at the age of 62, she took her own life, a tragic end for a woman who had once embodied strength and warmth on screen but had been unable to find the same in her own life. Richard Yeckel was born on October 10, 1926, and at 65, he joined Baywatch in 1991 as Ben Edwards, a wise and experienced lifeguard who acted as a mentor to the younger team members. His character embodied resilience and leadership, a man who had seen it all and still stood firm against the tides. But behind Yeckel's weathered face was an actor who had spent his life fighting for recognition. Though he had earned an Academy Award nomination for Sometimes a Great Notion, 1970, he was forever trapped in the realm of supporting roles, watching less talented peers surpass him. The industry had little patience for aging actors, and by the time he joined Baywatch, he was already struggling to secure work. His personal life was no less turbulent. Married to Antoinette Marches for over 50 years, their life was filled with financial stress, particularly after he was diagnosed with melanoma. Medical bills drained their savings, forcing them into near poverty. As his condition worsened, he lost the ability to act, leaving him with no source of income. The final months of his life were agonizing, as he battled both the physical pain of cancer and the humiliation of financial destitution. He succumbed to the disease on June 14, 1997, at the age of 70. Pat Morita was born on June 28, 1932, and played Hideki Tanaka in Baywatch in 2000 at the age of 68. Hideki, a wise and calm presence on the beach, offered his guidance and experience to the younger lifeguards, balancing the chaos of their lives with moments of tranquility. Morita's career, however, was not without its storms. He was a beloved actor, famed for his portrayal of Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid series, but this fame came with its share of heartache. Despite his success, Morita struggled with typecasting and faced deep battles with alcoholism throughout his career, often leading to personal isolation and alienation. His personal life was equally tumultuous. He had a string of troubled marriages, the most heartbreaking of which was his divorce from his first wife, who he later admitted was the love of his life, leaving him devastated for years. He had one daughter, who tragically distanced herself from him after his struggles with addiction. Throughout his life, Morita faced the cruel realities of racism in Hollywood, often overlooked for roles he was qualified for due to his ethnicity, leaving him in a constant state of self-doubt. He also battled chronic pain from spinal issues, which made everyday life a challenge. Morita's final years were a mix of loneliness and health struggles, and he passed away on November 24, 2005, at 73, from renal failure. Anne Jeffries was born on January 26, 1923, and portrayed Irene Buchanan, Mitch Buchanan's mother, in Baywatch in 1993 at the age of 70. Irene was the embodiment of maternal strength, always offering her son Mitch the emotional support he needed to guide his team of lifeguards. Her career, which started in the 1940s, had seen its prime long past by the time she appeared on Baywatch. In her youth, she had been a rising star, but the sharp decline in roles left her financially unstable as an older woman. Her personal life was fraught with heartache. She married her second husband, a successful producer, but he passed away young, leaving her to navigate life alone for decades. She had one child, a daughter, whose mental health struggles put an immense strain on their relationship. Tragically, the emotional distance between them grew over the years, and their relationship became estranged. Jeffries faced the trauma of watching her daughter spiral into addiction, a painful experience that overshadowed her later years. Anne Jeffries passed away on September 27, 2017, at the age of 94, after years of quietly dealing with the burdens of a life filled with personal loss and the sadness of faded fame. Daniel Quinn was born on August 19, 1956, and took on the role of Eric Turner in Baywatch in 1989 at the age of 33. Eric Turner was a lifeguard with a shadowy past, and Quinn's portrayal of this complex character reflected the depth of a man struggling with internal battles. In real life, while he had a few notable roles before Baywatch, he never quite achieved the fame that his talents deserved. His personal life was as turbulent as his career. Quinn had 2 marriages, both of which ended in divorce. His first wife, whom he had 2 children with, left him after years of emotional neglect as Quinn sank into depression. His second marriage, which he hoped would be a fresh start, also ended in bitterness and estrangement. The loss of connection with his children, particularly after they chose to live with their mother following his second divorce, haunted him for years. Quinn also faced personal health issues, struggling with obesity that later led to complications like diabetes, causing him to isolate further from friends and family. His battle with addiction to prescription painkillers worsened, forcing him into rehab multiple times, yet his demons remained. By the time he passed away on July 4, 2015, at the age of 58, Quinn had become a recluse, largely forgotten by the public, living in a small, modest apartment far from the limelight. David Hasselhoff was born on July 17, 1952, and played Mitch Buchanan in Baywatch in 1989 at the age of 37. Mitch was a dedicated, heroic leader who embodied the values of duty, justice, and loyalty, always putting others' safety above his own. Off-screen, David's life was far from as perfect. He married twice, first to actress Catherine Hickland, and later to Pamela Bach, with whom he had 2 daughters, Taylor Ann and Haley. However, both marriages were overshadowed by his struggles with alcoholism and substance abuse. His addiction led to several public incidents, including a notorious video where he appeared intoxicated, which damaged his reputation. Professionally, his career faltered after Baywatch, as he struggled to find significant roles, eventually resorting to low-budget films and music releases that failed to reignite his fame. His family life also suffered, as his troubled relationship with his daughters became strained, and he eventually lost custody. In 2025, at 72, David lives in relative seclusion, still battling health problems, the fallout from his past, and the weight of his public scandals. His life serves as a stark contrast to the beloved character of Mitch Buchanan he once portrayed. Pamela Anderson was born on July 1, 1967, and portrayed C.J. Parker in Baywatch in 1992 at the age of 25. C.J. was the beautiful, compassionate lifeguard adored by viewers, but Pamela's life behind the camera was full of heartbreak. Her first marriage to rock star Tommy Lee was infamous for its explosive, often violent, nature. Their relationship was marked by substance abuse and an infamous leaked sex tape that catapulted Pamela into the spotlight, but also into personal turmoil. The couple's turbulent marriage ended in divorce, and Pamela's subsequent marriages to Kid Rock and Rick Salomon also ended in failure, both plagued by infidelity, abuse, and emotional strain. Throughout her career, Pamela's personal life often overshadowed her professional success, and her relationships with her children, Brandon and Dylan, became strained. Despite her attempts to reinvent herself as an activist and actor, Pamela's image was permanently linked to the scandals and media frenzy of her past. By 2025, at 57, Pamela's life has quieted, but she remains deeply affected by the public scrutiny, her troubled relationships, and the toll of aging, leaving behind the vibrant persona that made her a cultural icon. Jeremy Jackson was born on October 16, 1980, and took on the role of Hobie Buchanan in Baywatch in 1991 at the age of 11. Hobie, the son of Mitch Buchanan, was a symbol of youthful innocence, often seen running along the beach with a carefree spirit that contrasted with the high stakes of the lifeguard team's work. But Jeremy's career never flourished past his iconic role, and his personal life spiraled into tragedy. After Baywatch, Jeremy's career quickly fizzled, overshadowed by a series of substance abuse problems. His transition from child star to adult actor was a brutal one, as he found himself in a constant struggle for work, often turning to minor television roles that failed to revive his career. His personal life became even more tumultuous. Jeremy was married twice, first to actress Lonnie Willison, with whom he had a short-lived marriage before a bitter divorce. Their relationship was tainted by his increasing addiction to drugs and alcohol, and he was arrested on multiple occasions for substance-related offenses. Tragically, his own battle with addiction led to his estrangement from family and friends, including his mother, who attempted to intervene multiple times but was unsuccessful. In 2025, at 44, Jeremy has faded into obscurity, often living in isolation, disconnected from the world that once knew him as Hobie. Alexandra Paul was born on July 29, 1963, and played the strong and capable Stephanie Holden in Baywatch starting in 1992 at the age of 29. Stephanie was the lifeguard leader, admired for her courage and determination. However, Paul's career after Baywatch failed to flourish. She found herself repeatedly typecast in similar roles, struggling to break free and find substantial work. Her personal life was marked by heartache and disappointment. She married actor Ian Ziering in the early 2000s, but their marriage fell apart after 5 years due to infidelity and a lack of emotional connection. Later, she entered into a long-term relationship with a businessman, but this too ended in failure when he was arrested for fraud. Paul's emotional state worsened over time, especially with the public scrutiny she faced regarding her appearance and personal life. She underwent a breakdown in the late 2010s, diagnosed with PTSD, and faced significant anxiety and depression. Despite attempts to recover, she became reclusive, choosing to live far from the limelight. In 2025, at 61 years old, Paul remains distant from the public eye, coping with her mental health struggles and attempting to find peace and purpose in a life far removed from her Baywatch fame. Gregory Allen Williams was born on June 12, 1956, and played Garner Ellerby in Baywatch starting in 1989 at the age of 33. As the dependable police officer who worked alongside the lifeguards, Ellerby brought humor and a unique sense of professionalism to the show. While his character was loved by fans, Williams faced a difficult post-Baywatch career, struggling with typecasting and never securing substantial roles outside of the show. His personal life was equally tumultuous. He married actress Michelle Taverna, and together they had 2 children, Jake and Maria. Their marriage was plagued by constant tensions, and they eventually divorced after 8 years. His second marriage to actress Shannon Brown lasted only a few years before falling apart due to a combination of personal and financial issues. Williams' battles with depression, coupled with an alcohol addiction, took a toll on his emotional well-being. His personal struggles were compounded by financial instability, making it difficult for him to regain any semblance of the success he once had. By 2025, at 68 years old, Williams lives a reclusive life, estranged from his children and with little connection to the career that once promised so much. Michael Bergen was born on March 18, 1969, and portrayed J.D. Darius in Baywatch starting in 1997 at the age of 28. As the confident and athletic lifeguard, J.D. was admired for both his physicality and his charisma. However, after Baywatch, Bergen's career failed to take off as he hoped. The roles he was offered were sparse, and he struggled to find a lasting presence in the industry. His personal life became a series of emotional roller coasters. His marriage to Susan Davis, which had started off with high hopes, was eventually torn apart by years of difficulty, including multiple miscarriages that left them both devastated. The inability to have children strained their bond, and they divorced after a lengthy and painful separation. In 2011, Bergen suffered an unimaginable tragedy when his younger brother died in a car accident, an event that sent him into a spiral of grief and depression. Unable to cope with the mounting pressure of personal loss and career failure, Bergen turned to substance abuse. His addiction worsened, and by 2025, at 56, Bergen is living in near isolation, struggling with the aftermath of both his career's demise and his personal battles. Far from the life of fame and promise he once dreamed of, he continues to fight his inner demons while living on the fringes of society. Yasmin Bleeth was born on June 14, 1968, and joined Baywatch in 1993 as Caroline Holden at the age of 25. Caroline was known for her determination and relentless effort to prove herself, often fighting against the shadows of her more famous co-stars. After Baywatch, her career struggled to break free from the typecasting that came with being the beachside beauty. Roles were scarce, and she soon found herself battling demons off-screen. Her struggles with addiction became public in the late 90s, casting a dark cloud over her future. Bleeth's marriage to fellow actor and producer Paul Cerritos seemed like a fresh start, but her addiction issues soon resurfaced, straining their bond. Despite their efforts to save their relationship, it crumbled under the weight of her personal demons. She suffered a near-fatal overdose in 2000, which led to a period of rehab and isolation. Her public image, once synonymous with beauty and glamour, was irrevocably tarnished, and she faced intense media scrutiny. The press's unrelenting focus on her failures and the pressures of the entertainment industry left her in a constant state of depression. In 2025, at 56, Bleeth lives far away from the limelight, maintaining a low profile while quietly recovering from the scars of her past, though her life remains a quiet struggle for peace. David Chokachi was born on January 16, 1968, and joined Baywatch in 1995 as Cody Madison at the age of 27. Cody was the embodiment of charm and athleticism, a lifeguard who balanced an easygoing personality with a deep commitment to saving lives. While Baywatch was a career-defining role, it didn't propel him to the heights that many expected. After the show ended, David's career stagnated. He found himself trapped in low-budget TV roles and obscure movies, a far cry from the fame he once knew. His personal life mirrored this descent. Chokachi's marriage to actress Susan Keegan was supposed to be the happy ending, but it was anything but. Their union, which produced 2 children, was marred by endless rumors of infidelity and emotional neglect. His failure to adjust to the post-Baywatch reality led him to retreat into alcoholism, a battle that he struggled to keep hidden from the public eye. His relationship with his children was strained as his career faltered, and the family dynamics deteriorated as he spent years in and out of rehab. Chokachi faced bankruptcy when a string of poor investments and ongoing personal problems drained his financial resources. In 2025, at 57, he lives in near isolation, his career a shadow of its former glory, struggling to reclaim a semblance of normalcy. David Charbit was born on May 15, 1972, and joined Baywatch in 1992 as Matt Brody at the age of 20. Matt was the epitome of youthful energy, passionate, committed, and driven to prove his worth as a lifeguard. Charbit's career was initially fueled by his role on Baywatch, but like many of his co-stars, the fame faded quickly after the series ended. Charbit's attempt to transition to a music career faltered, and he soon found himself in obscurity. His personal life was plagued with turmoil. A tumultuous relationship with Brooke Burke, with whom he had 2 children, became fodder for tabloids. Their relationship, full of fiery passion and frequent breakups, was a public spectacle, ultimately ending in a bitter divorce. Charbit's second marriage to model and actress, Liza Giddey, also ended in heartbreak after years of emotional distance and infidelity rumors. Financially, Charbit struggled with investments in failed businesses and legal troubles that drained his fortune. He also battled with depression and a sense of purposelessness after his acting career dwindled. By 2025, at 52, Charbit has largely retreated from public life, his past fame overshadowed by the painful legacy of broken relationships, financial ruin, and personal struggles. Who is your favorite character from Baywatch? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.